Good evening, all of you. The agenda for today's session is that we will discuss mainly the UPSC 2004 paper which came day for yesterday, and you all know that the UPSC examination on Sunday, as expected, there were surprises and there was some bias approach towards areas like environment and ecology and art and culture, but effectively there were questions also which were very much under the control of the student. So today what we'll be doing is that we'll be discussing the prelims paper. Then we'll also be analyzing the trend from past 5 years. Then what one the student should be doing to adapt this kind of paper. So that is what the main agenda would be, discuss the question. Now, if we try to understand this paper, you would find that the questions which were there, either they were very easy, they're very simple, they're very straightforward, which required a decent understanding would eventually would help you to crack these questions. In fact, almost 25 to 30 questions we had covered in our sessions only, that we had a crash course in which we had covered almost many questions came verbatim. So as we know, there are 3 phases of examination is like this: preliminary, mains, and PT personality test. Then the syllabus was like this, and as you can see in the syllabus, here the focus was more towards this environmental ecology, biodiversity, climate change. This was again a lot of effort emphasis was given this area. The reason why this area was important again is not very clear, but one reason could be that this year the Indian Forest Service examination people are also giving the same paper for the PT paper. So almost more than 30 questions were there. Then CSAT 2 again, there was in CSAT 2, so Arun sir will be discussing this paper tomorrow. Now in CSAT 2, as the decision making was absent. At the same time, there were 6 questions that one was not could leave them as per the mandate of the government. So out of 74 questions, again there was the RC questions were a little tricky. It was paper were lengthy also. Okay, so now as we know, these are the areas that come in the examination: history, polity, economics, geography, environment, ecology, current affairs, science and tech. So we try to see the the questions which came this year. You can see here, let's see history. History, the 5 are in modern history and 15 is from art and culture and medieval and other areas. Earlier the bias was more towards modern history, but recently we've seen that there's more focus towards ancient art and culture and ancient history as well. Indian polity, as expected, it was 10-12 questions was something that I expected was there already. Very basic questions, simple questions, straight questions. Few questions were a little tricky, and economics were pretty basic this time again, but the questions have come down. Obviously, that was because there was more emphasis in environment ecology. Almost 32 questions came. Geography, again the questions were very okay questions. They were not very tough. Moderate level questions were there. Then current affairs, again few areas. Science and tech, this time it was less. So you can see that the focus was towards history here increased. At the same time, environment ecology. So that is why there was ideally, if you compare with last year, 35 plus 20, that is 55 questions were there from. In fact, 35 questions were there from Indian polity and economics. This time it came down to 19, and actually the number increased in environment ecology. Okay, so let's do the papers now. So papers, I've created a solution also. The entire paper discussion is there. The paper is already there on the website of Mindworkzz with solution. But here I've discussed in detail the solutions. We'll try to cover as many questions till So as I said, the focus, this is a question of modern history, the partition of Bengal. Okay, it happened in 1905, and when it was annulled. Okay, that is the question it was asked. Now this question is pretty straight away. That is option 2. That is King George V. He abrogated the Curzon's Act in 1911. Okay, and that was because the very reason of why partition of Bengal was partition of Bengal was annulled was simple reason that there was a lot of revolutionary terrorism that was going on at that point of time. So focus was there to reduce the effect of that revolutionary terrorism. So the option is here is B. Now coming here, just hold on. Okay, so coming to the next question. Now this was session of Indian National Congress session 929. Again, very pretty straightaway question that we had already discussed in our session. So which is the option here, guys? As per you, which is the option of this? What is the answer of this question? 929 session of Indian National Congress was there with significance in the history. It happened on 26th of January, in Lahore, across the bank of. Which is the right answer here? B is the right answer. Okay, attainment of Purna Swaraj was adopted as a goal for the Congress. Okay, so that is the right answer. Now, the next question was on art and culture. As we see here, Satriya is the name of the dance form or a dance which was there. So it is actually a dance of Assam. Okay, and it's an old tradition. It started in Okay, the screen is not moving, is it? Can you see the PPT? Samiksha, the screen is not moving, is it? Okay, now it's moving. Now I was discussing the question, maybe. Okay, fine. So as I said, Satriya is a dance form of Assam. It started in 15th century. 15th century it started. It's a combination of music, dance, and drama. Okay, there's a very factual question which came. Okay, and so option 1 and 2 are correct here. So that means 1 and 2, that is B option is right here. Now the solution will be provided to you. Now the solution has all the detail. In fact, I have mentioned the website also where you can go and have little understanding about this particular form of dance form. Okay, now this is again a very basic set of question. Chaitra of the national calendar based on Saka era. Okay, it starts on 22nd of March. Again, a factual question was there. So such questions were there which are very factual, which students should have usually scored full on full. Okay. But then there's an art and culture question. Again, this I'll not discuss because we need to go a little background here. Question number 6 is Gadar. We all know which is the right option here. What was Gadar? The Gadar movement which was there, it happened around First World War. The Gadar movement, it's a revolutionary association of Indians, okay, which happened in San Francisco. And it was basically, the program was to organize assassinations and officials and publish revolutionary data, okay, anti-imperialist literature. Yes, Milan, you have some question? Okay, so Gadar was something that was started around First World War, and the aim was to, create a parallel, create a revolutionary association where, the nationalist, or you can say the revolutionary group, it was headquartered at San Francisco, and they had leaders like Lala Hardayal and Sohan Singh Pakna, very famous people. Okay, so, and the reason why it event got triggered was that Komagata Maru was a ship that was captured at the same time. There was First World War, and they wanted to capitalize on that. Okay. So sixth is Sita question. A is the right answer. Okay, now question here is again, this is straight question. If students had covered art and culture properly, they should have been able to cover most of the questions. Questions were apart from few questions, most of the questions were basic. This was what is Kalari Payattu? Okay, that was the question. Now India has a huge diversity in terms of religion, custom, dances, culture. So naturally, that culture means that we have to put a lot of effort in terms of studying different diversity. Yes, Chrome is saying that art and culture is too wide. Okay, that is okay, Chrome, but you need to we can go over one strategic approach in which we'll try to cover. And the trend has been there, and it's something that we can't help it. We have to study, right? But we'll take some basic from 2-3 areas. Like for example, we cover NCRT, we can cover IGNOU, then we can cover one of the Spectrum collection is good. So when you cover 2-3 areas, it should be manageable. Okay. Now you can see here what was the Kalari Payattu is a form of martial art. Okay, it's a form of martial art, and Indian martial art, one of the oldest fighting systems. It is practiced in Kerala, parts of Tamil Nadu, among the Malayali community of Malaysia. Okay, so it was originally practiced in north and central parts of Kerala, and some parts of Karnataka as well. Yes, the option here is B. Yes. I'll discuss the strategy also. In fact, we'll have an origin session where we'll discuss strategy in properly Milan. So that session would be there in few days only. Don't worry. Okay. So as we move forward, now this is a pretty straightaway question. Dance form. I think this, which is the right answer here. Garba is from Gujarat. Everybody knows here. So automatically option B would be filtered. Then Mohini Attam is from Kerala, not from Odisha. So 2 is out of question. So option A and C. Now Yakshagana, who is also from Karnataka. Okay. So the option here is C. C is the right answer. In between, I'll take concepts. Whenever concepts will come, I'll take, these are some factual questions. Now, Buddhist history, tradition, culture. Okay, these are famous shrine and location. In fact, all of them are correct here. Okay, all of them are correct here. So D is the right answer. Now, again a question of art and culture. What is Bijak? Bijak is a compilation of Kabir, Sant Kabir. Okay, and such as holy scriptures for the followers of Kabir Panthi religion. Okay, and the Pushti Marg is a Vaishnavi sect of Hinduism. Okay, so this you can get an understanding from here. Okay, so option D is the right name. Neither of them is correct. Okay, now ideally the question here is that what to do. See, if you try to analyze the paper, there were areas like polity, economy, modern history, many questions of geography, and questions of 30-40% of questions of environment and ecology. They were so simple, they were so straight that if student had done this area well, they can easily comfortably score 50, around a score of 45-50. And the scope of error here is less, because the questions were pretty straight here. So we'll come to that and then we'll discuss. Okay, so again, it's an art and culture question you can take here. You can you see from the answers. Manganiyars. What is Manganiyars? Okay, it's a musical tradition in Northwest India. In fact, there are Muslims in Rajasthan which are there. Okay, yes, Samiksha, I'll take I'll discuss this thing, all these questions in the end, Samisha. Okay, art and culture questions. Sorry. Okay, this is a very straight question. Queen Victoria Proclamation. It was Government of India Act 1858. That is what Queen Proclamation means. Okay. So now option here, the British government took over the East India Company, and East India Company, especially the repercussion, it was a repercussion due to the revolt of 1857, and so East India Company was replaced by by the Crown, that is British government. So 3 is not an option here. Automatically it's out of the question. So option A and B. Okay, and then again, to disclaim any intention to annex Indian state, that is also true. For example, at that point of time, there were many states, princely states, or there were states which actually helped Britishers in containing the revolt of 1857. So it is something that they felt that annexing state which was under doctrine of lapse or under other such laws which happened during that time, during the period of Lord Canning, they actually created a lot of negative sentiments against the British rule against the East India Company. So that is why the British Crown, they believe, or rather British government, they believe that if we want to rule a colony like India, we need to accept few things and we need to take these people together. So that is why they felt that the princely states, the many princely states which actually helped them, so they said that no, we have to ensure that we won't annex them and we'll try to take them together. Okay, and that is how we'll rule. So option A and B is the right answer here. Okay. Now there is another question is from medieval history, that Ibadat Khana. Okay, what is Ibadat Khana? Sorry, Ibadat Khana is basically it was here option. It was a chamber, a place, a hall where Akbar had a lot of religious tolerance. So he encouraged discussion on religion by different scholars. Okay, and there is a place in Fatehpur Sikri called Ibadat Khana. So that is what the aim was. Okay, so Ibadat Khana basically it was. Now if you try to see your option C and option D, the problem here is that both options are pretty close. Okay, and now what is the right answer? That is again what is the right answer? Now here, just try to see this option, the hall in which Akbar held discussions with scholars of various religions. That is true. Akbar held discussion. Akbar is also part of that discussion many a times. And the second option D said the room in which the nobles belong to different religions gathered to discuss religious affairs. That is also close, but this is more closer. Option C. Okay, so the option C is the right answer. Okay. Now this is the question which asked about national for food and the nutrition security of India. There is a seed replacement rate. What is the meaning of seed replacement rate? That when you're using, you need to replace the current seeds and you have to use better seeds, high yield variety seeds. Okay, and here, so the aim is to have a food production target in the future. Okay, so the options here are, what are the constraints in terms of wider implementation which government is facing the seed replacement rate. Now the option 1 is there is no seed policy in place. Actually we have a seed policy, national seeds policy. So option 1 is incorrect. And also there is a participation of private players in seed company. That is also very much true. So 1 and 2 are automatically out of the question. That means A and C are out of the option, but B and D again. Now you come to the option C. If you try to have a little understanding about the agriculture sector, you will find that certainly there is a demand-supply gap. Okay, in terms of quality seeds, which ensure that high volume crops are produced. So option B here is the right answer. Okay. Now eco-sensitive zone. What is eco-sensitive zone? Again, a question, straight away question came on this. Now Eco-sensitive zones are the areas declared under the Wildlife Protection Act. Actually, it was in news, eco-sensitive zone, and eco-sensitive zone was new, so naturally you can expect some questions. I would rather consider it as a current affairs question instead of having environment and ecology question. Now this eco-sensitive zone was under Environment Act 1986, Environment Protection Act. Okay, so one option is is not picture. So B and D. Now the purpose of declaration of eco-sensitive zones is to prohibit all kind of human activities. Now that is not true. All kind of, in fact, eco-sensitive zones have been, even the agriculture is not allowed. Okay, and there has been, in fact, mostly the eco-sensitive zones are around the sanctuaries and national parks. That is what there is a zone would be created. So option D is the right answer here. Okay. Then again, next question, very static question again. Animal Welfare Board, okay, comes under the Environment Protection Act. No, Chrome, it is wrong. Okay, see, if you try to see there, except agriculture, if the question number 15, if you try to see the option here, agriculture, it's mentioned here. All kind of human activities except agriculture. So what does this mean? Okay, this question itself, eco-sensitive zones have, the agriculture is even not allowed. Okay. In fact, so option D is correct here. See, if you try to see the options they give you a little hint somewhere whether they are correct or not. I'll give you, there are many ways, even if you have not studied art, environment and ecology, if you have not, but if you have done decent newspaper reading, if you have little understanding about laws, what should happen or what should not happen ideally, still you'll be able to attempt 8-10 questions. Here I would tell you many places where, for example, this question, now this is a static, factual question, Animal Welfare Board was established under Environment Protection Act. Okay, so this is something that you might not know. But here option 2, National Tiger Conservation Authority is naturally a statutory body that is created by under the Act of the Parliament. That is true, is correct. National Ganga River Basin Authority is also headed by Prime Minister. I think we had, Samiksha, if you remember, we had discussed this, in the session also. So option 2 and 3 are already correct here. Okay, so we have already eliminated A and C. Now here B and D. Okay, so at least we have filtered the 50% of the options. Now here Animal Welfare Board, if you try to see, Animal Welfare Board should ideally come under Environment Protection Act. If you try to imagine and visualize, you find that, okay, it might come, it might not come. The chances are there. But if you try to see the option, is Animal Welfare Board, was established in 1962 in accordance with the Prevention of Cruelty Act 1960. Okay, so that is the factual understanding here. So naturally here A1 is incorrect. Okay, so automatically B, 2 and 3 is the right answer. Now here the trick is, let's say you don't know, have no clue about option 1, and but if you just use your little understanding and sense, Environment Protection Act is 1986. Do you think that we have Animal Welfare Board creation which happened so later in our system? So that is something, one possibility. Second possibility is that there are a lot of act under the Environment Act. The possibility of having annual is also less. Okay, so that way you can filter, but again not with certainty. Now there is a science and tech question, very straight question. I think we all have studied this right from in our school days. Vitamin A is night blindness, so 3 is out of the question. Okay, B, C is out. Now only you need to know vitamin C and D, which is correct. That is a disease, scurvy is caused due to the deficiency of vitamin C, and rickets is caused by the deficiency of vitamin D. Okay, so option A is correct here. In fact, many questions in our crash course, in UPSC crash course, we had covered almost 25 to 30 questions. Here what we have In fact, some most 10-15 questions were discussed verbatim. Okay, that came in the examination. Now, nanoparticle. In science and tech, nanoparticle is a very important area which students should understand and know. Nanoparticle, if you try to understand, the nanoparticle have, they are 10 to the minus 9. Okay, these they are very small meter. Okay, so they are very small. So naturally, they have, the level is towards this cellular level. Okay, the size is to the cell level. Such is the intensity. Okay, and these particles, if you try to understand, then they can cause in fact, the labs where nanoparticles are being created, the people who work, they have to take extreme caution and safety, because it can enter in the environment, it can enter in metabolism, it can enter into cell membrane. Health hazards are also very high. In fact, after going inside your body, it can bioaccumulate. The process of bioaccumulation can also take place. Okay, that can have a very negative effect on your body. Okay, so that ways they can enter food chains also, because the bioaccumulation naturally they can happen into the food chain. Now here they can trigger the production of free radicals. That is also true. Nanoparticles has the possibility of production of free radicals that can reduce them in the immunity of body. It can affect very negative. Okay, so you can see already I've listed 2 articles. You can read the effect of nanoparticles, health hazard easily. We deployed in the solution. Okay, so option 1, 2, 3, that is D, is the right answer here. Now, which of the following organization brings us the publication World Economic Outlook? Pretty straight away question. Every year, 3 times, World Economic Outlook comes by it is a publication by IMF, that is International Monetary Fund. Okay, they have the discussion about the inflation or the problems or the GDP growth of most of the countries of the world, almost 180 countries. Okay, so that was a pretty straight factual question was there. Now, with reference to union budget, which of the following are covered under non-plan expenditure? I think we have already, if you remember, in our economic session we had covered this. Usually the expenditures part are divided into 2 parts. Okay, they could be plan expenditure and non-plan. Now, plan expenditures are basically they are more into productive. They increase the productive capacity of the economy. They are productive in nature. Okay, one time. Example, let's say you build a dam or you make a road, something like that. Okay. But non-plan, they are basically, mostly they are revenue expenditures. Okay, these are called as mostly capital expenditure. So these are revenue expenditure, and here they could usually be divided into 4 parts. That is subsidies, defense expenditure, administrative expenditure, that is pensions and salaries, and the interest payment, that is whatever loans government, the debt obligation, we have to make payments of that. The interest payment is required. Whatever debt the government has, they have to pay. So if you try to understand, they are not one time, they are recurring. Every year the government has to do this. Okay, they are recurring in nature. Now focus here is government always try to increase this plan expenditure and tries to decrease these plan expenditure. So that is a challenge. Okay, because they want to reduce subsidies, they want to ensure that defense budget is is less, not because a huge portion of defense budget goes into salaries and other expenses. Administrative expenses government always tries to reduce. Interest payment, again, the higher amount of deficit, financing or loan or whatever we take, external aid or external loan that we take, soft or hard loan, whatever, Okay, or whatever sovereign debt you have to make interest payment against those. Okay, so government always try to reduce these kind of expenditures. So all of them, that is different expenditure, interest payment, salaries and pensions and subsidies, they all come under the non-plan expenditure. So option C here is right. Okay, understood this question? Now, where do we have coral reefs? Pretty basic question. Andaman Nicobar, yes. Gulf of Kutch, yes. Gulf of Mannar, yes. Sundarbans, no. Sundarbans is a mangrove area. There is a lot of deltas, so the formation of coral reef is not there. Okay, so automatically here option A is the right answer. Pretty straight question, factual. As I said, the questions which were easy, they were very easy. We could easily, there were around 50-55 questions which were doable. Okay, and if the student has done his preparation well in those areas, he can effectively get a score of 40, 45 easily. Okay, a little effort, it could easily inch towards 50-55, and that is what the aim should be. Now, question number 22. There is a problem of soil erosion. Okay, we have soil erosion is a very normal phenomena that we study in environmental ecology. Okay, in fact, if you remember, Samiksha had given an understanding about soil erosion in my notes. Okay, so what happens? Which of them are soil erosion associated with terrace cultivation? Okay, the problem of soil erosion. Now, terrace cultivation, we know what terrace cultivation is. If you go to hilly areas, you will find that the cultivation takes place in forms of terrace. Okay, steps. Okay, so in fact, terrace cultivation reduces the soil erosion because the water flow is can be minimized. On a slope, the soil erosion would be higher, but when there is a terrace cultivation, the water flow or the soil erosion, the erosion which happens when the flow of water is reduced. So terrace cultivation actually it reduces the soil erosion. So option 1 is out of the question here. So A, C and D are out. So automatically option B is the right answer here. Okay. So little understanding here, effectively you'll be able to filter the question. Now the question here, next question, pretty basic question, and we had covered this also. The seasonal reversal of winds is a typical characteristics of monsoon climate. Equatorial climate, no. In fact, in under equatorial climate, we have similar kind of, there's not much difference in the wind, seasonal winds, and every day the rain takes place. Okay, so equatorial A is out of the option. Mediterranean climate, again the winter rain takes place here. Again, that is the characteristic of Mediterranean climate is different. Monsoon climate, yes. Take example of India. Usually the rainfall, the monsoon, southwest monsoon comes from the Indian Ocean. There's a pressure gradient from high pressure to low pressure, so rainfall takes place. However, when the things changes from October to December, or what happens? There is the reversal of the wind, and there is a flow of northeast winds. Okay, from seasonal reversal of wind that is southwest monsoon in summers, okay, and northeast monsoon in winters. So option C is the right answer here. That is monsoons. Okay, got it, guys? Pretty straight question, pretty straight away. Okay, so art and culture question, cultural history. Actually, Panchayatan is a form of a temple construction. Okay. Now again, what ideally I would suggest for the students, for the next year, they can read properly, art and culture, and they can have the tables. They can make their own charts and tables just for quick revision, because eventually, you decide in terms of, let's say, dance form or music form, places they, and what are the peculiar things about that, particular culture, a particular dance form, a particular area. That is what ideally students should focus. Okay. Culture book, Samiksha, ideally it should start with ancient India. Sorry, NCRT, ancient India. Then there are some IGNOU notes also available for art and culture. They're very decent. There's a spectrum collection is there. The spectrum guide collection is there for art and culture. That is also okay. And plus, always go through the newspapers, see whatever is in the news. Okay, so if you cover 2-3 areas, eventually art and culture is very much can be easily covered. But art and culture is very important also because in mains paper 1, art and culture covers a huge portion. Okay, so we cannot afford to miss art and culture. Okay. Okay, guys, tell me which of the rivers flow in Arunachal Pradesh? I think we have covered. Samisha, we have covered this, right? Remember maps, Brahmaputra. Which is the right answer here? Barak flows in South Assam, so it is not. Lohit and Subansri joins Brahmaputra from north. Okay, so option 2 and 3 are correct here. Okay. So pretty straight question it was. Now wetlands again. Now this was the wetlands. There are some very famous wetlands these are. So ideally a student expected to know these wetlands and where they are. Okay. So Harike wetlands, confluence of Beas and Satluj, that is true. Okay, Harike is on the confluence of Beas Satluj. Now Kyoladev Ghana National Park, okay, Bharatpur is the confluence of Banas and Chambal, that is incorrect. In fact, they are the confluence of Gambhiri and Ban Ganga River, okay, in Bharatpur district of Rajasthan. Okay. So 2 is incorrect. So automatically A and C are the option we have. Koleru Lake, confluence of Musi and Krishna, actually no. It is formed in the delta of Godavari, between the delta of Godavari and Krishna. Okay. So that is also incorrect. And Musi River is in Hyderabad, which is far away from there. Okay, so automatically option A is correct here. Now, part of Indian philosophy, again art and culture question. You can read it from. Now again, this was pretty straight question. The hills, Cardamom Hills, Coromandel Coast, that is true. Okay, they are on the southern Coromandel Coast. Okay. Okay, East Tamil Nadu. East Tamil Nadu it is. Then Kaimur is not in Konkan. Kaimur is in Vindhyas areas. So 2 is out here. Okay. So if we remove 2, which are the options here? C. That is only left. You don't need to do a lot of hard work also. You don't need to see. Just see Kaimur Hills, or it is in Vindhyas. So by see whether we can eliminate the option. Automatically C is the right answer. That is Mahadev Hills in central India and Mikhir is in northeast. So that is also true. Which of the following should in the Constitution contain provisions anti-defection? And we have covered this in our 10th schedule. Okay, it was brought in 1985. Okay, by anti-defection law by Rajiv Gandhi's government. He has a huge majority, more than 401 members in Lok Sabha. Okay, and the idea was to ensure that if disqualification of elected members do not take place or defection of the members do not take place, and if the defection takes place, automatically the membership would be suspended, okay, or no, rather disqualified. Now here is the most important strategy for conservation of biodiversity with traditional human life. Now all these in situ and ex situ, if you try to see that botanical garden is out of the question, it is man-made, natural this thing. So traditional human establishment, human life is virtually absent there. In national parks, there is no human activities allowed. Okay, so here C is also out of the option. Now biosphere reserves and wildlife. ideally biosphere reserves can have national parks and wildlife sanctuaries in them, and there's a buffer zone also where the involvement of human being can take place, and so that is why the biosphere reserve is a correct option. This was also a little, it was a very straight question, little understanding was required. Okay, so as Indian government has, you can see, established 18 biosphere reserves, and protection is granted only on the, not only on flora and fauna, but also the human communities who inhabit these regions. Okay, so basically they allow human involvement also in the buffer zone, but there is a core zone also where no involvement is allowed. Okay, so A is the right answer. Turkey is located, again very simple straight question, Black Sea Mediterranean. Turkey was in news also, if you remember. If I had told Turkey, do Turkey properly, because it was a new kind of, also for a new kind of undersea tunnel was made linking East Turkey and West Turkey. Okay, that is European Turkey and Asian Turkey. So automatically, as a straight question also, Mediterranean Sea and Black Sea. B is the right answer here. Now, what is the correct sequence in Southeast Asia? If you proceed from south to north, okay, means, so you can do also, now if you go from north to south, you can revert it. Hanoi, naturally, it will be on the topmost. Jakarta would be the bottommost. Why? Jakarta is the capital of Indonesia, which is below Singapore, which is below Bangkok. Okay, at the tip of Malay Peninsula we have Singapore. So 3, 4. Okay, and then 1 and 2 automatically. This was also very straight question. If you want to see on the map, we can see on the map also. You can see here. This is Singapore. This is Jakarta. Okay, in Java. So quite, this is a huge distance. I mean, if you have basic understanding, and here we have Bangkok. Okay, and Hanoi is here. So it's pretty, not even close. Okay, good guys. Now this was a question which can be done without any without having deep understanding of knowledge. The scientific view of increase in global temperature. Okay, it should not increase 2 degrees. But what happens if temperature rises beyond 3 degrees centigrade? Now here, if you see, go to the options. Terrestrial biosphere will tend towards net carbon source. Okay, widespread coral mortality will occur. This is very much true, because even under present condition, the coral mortality or coral bleaching is taking place. So automatically, when the incidence of coral bleaching would be higher, automatically the coral will die or the coral mortality will occur. So 2 is already there. But if you go to option number 3, all the global wetlands will permanently disappear. Now, if you try to understand the incidence of flood, the incidence of sea rise will take place. So the options of having permanent disappearance of these global wetlands is, it's not practically possible. So automatically 3 is eliminated here. So when 3 is eliminated here, so automatically A and B are the options where we have to choose. Okay, so here terrestrial biosphere and 1 and 2, B, that is widespread coral mortality, is the right answer, because 2 will also happen. So if 2 is there, automatically we are left with only one option, that is B. Okay. The permanent disappearance, in fact, if you remember, the global warming would cause a lot of floods, sea rise. So the wetlands will not disappear. Okay, they will not disappear. So automatically B is the right answer here. Understood? Satyamev Jayate, already, it was always in news, so they expected that students should know Satyamev Jayate. It is mentioned in Mundaka Upanishad. A student had covered India Yearbook. India Yearbook is given in chapter number 2 clearly, but ideally a student should know. Okay, the option. Again, promotion of international peace and security we had discussed in our class. Okay, it is UPSC Article 51. In fact, we had discussed it in one of our sessions also. In fact, more than 30 questions we have discussed in the class. Student had covered everything. They could easily score 30-32 questions from our class itself. Okay. What are the benefits of implementing integrated watershed development program? Now you try to see the options. Again, again, let's say you don't know anything about integrated watershed development. So watershed development means the focus would be on the soil runoff. Now option 1, let's say leave it. Option 2 is linking of the country's perennial river with seasonal rivers. Now, do you think the government has been willing to do this, but they don't find this environmentally, benign? This project is not environmentally benign, and it's just a proposal. Okay, and it is a huge proposal. It was decided during the second plan. Okay, that we can link the rivers, but that idea was shut off. Again, during Vajpayee government, it was discussed that we can link the rivers. Now, that time also it was not taken because the reason is that it was believed that it might have huge environmental cost. Okay, so this whole issue, if students have read the newspapers properly, this in fact it was in news also this time during Modi's government. So this is automatically out of question. So if this is automatically out of the questions, automatically let's see which option doesn't have to. So option C is the only option here. So automatically you will filter. If you try to analyze this paper, you'll understand that the links have been, the clues have been given, where with your common sense you can easily filter the option, and that is what you have to do. You have to get inside the examination. You have to clear the prelims. So you need not know factually all the answers, but you should have an ability to filter them, and that is what the aim should be. Okay, that is why I always say read the newspapers properly. The standard made notes, might not come directly, but when you read newspapers, you get an understanding of what is going, what is happening, what are the issues. Okay, you might not know the exact answers, but that is what is going to help. You'll be able to filter the options. That is why I always encourage students to go for tailor-made, notes from coursewares, because they make it in a different way. So naturally, the idea of having understanding would not be there. But once you are reading the newspapers every day, eventually you'll develop a trend and an understanding. And that is why I always encourage students to read newspapers. If you're not able to do any other thing, don't do anything but read newspapers. That is the most important thing. Okay, because you can easily filter the options just by having you can see here integrated watershed development program have been, you can read here 36. Again, this was SITA. Which of the following has to do with the planning of India? Okay, now then the planning of India, how does it happen? Now basically planning commission, okay, submits its reports to the Union Cabinet, and after the Cabinet gives approval, it goes to NDC, National Development Council, then it is presented in the Parliament, approved, okay, and then in the Gazette. It is read in the official Gazette. Okay, that is how the process of planning happens. Now, so which of the following are associated with planning? Finance Commission has different role. It is basically the allocation of resources between central distribution, the grants and aids, and also the recommendation which should be given to State Finance Commission about the giving finances to the third tier, the Panchayati Raj. So one is out of the question here. So if you remove one, automatically C is the right answer. Again here also you just need to know what are the functions of Finance Commission. Again, planning, the Finance Commission is not involved with planning. Okay, so automatically B is the right, C is the right answer. But here there is a little dicey, there is a counter view also. Why I am saying this? Which of them are associated with planning? Ideally the answer should be C. but they're not saying that, you know, the other ministries are also somewhere, you know, the data have been taken as well as planning. But if we see that somehow if there is slightest link also, because, you know, Finance Commission do take understanding of, you know, planning in terms of, you know, distribution of resources. So again, in that case, all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 could be correct also. But under that we have to wait for the UPSC key. But here I suppose that answer C is better option. Okay. That was the functions of Cabinet Secretariat. Very straight away, prepare that in the cabinet meeting straight away. Secretarial assistance to cabinet committee, that is also very straight question this was. So C is the right answer here. Allocation of resources to financial resources ministry is done by finance ministry. So this is out of the option here. It is a straight. It is. I mean, if you open the function of the, you know, cabinet secretariat, it is easily mentioned. So that is what I was saying. That questions are not only, you know, asked. This time the questions are very sitters, but again students, you know, they don't read properly. Question number 39, a very good question. In fact, I had discussed about constitution, you know, constitutionalism. Okay, what exactly it is? A constitutional government is one which places effective restrictions on individual liberty in the state of state authority. If you go and try to read article number 19, okay, article number 19, 20, 21, 22, you know, preventive detention, does try to put some, you know, restrictions of individual liberty. Then if you go option here, the two option is a place effective restriction on the authority of the state. In fact, this is the soul of the constitutional government. The aim of the constitutional government is that the power of the state, see, the power is derived from the constitution. That is the basic aim of funda. Now, when the power is derived from the constitution, what is the role of the constitution? The constitution is going to delineate all the powers that have been mentioned and also tell the limitation of the government. Okay, and that happens in the interest of the individual liberty. The idea is that the state or the government should not become very superpower. It should not trample the rights of the individual, because the rights of the government have been derived from the constitution. So constitution would not only give those rights, but also put restrictions on them. Okay, so that was the option here. So you can see here, state can put reasonable restriction. Okay, that was the point 1. And article 20, 21, 22, you know, protection against excessive punishment, life, liberty, arrest, detention. So here, this is how the constitution puts liberty. And if these rights are being not given an individual, automatically what happens? You have constitutional remedies also. Okay, so automatically C is the right answer. But there is one more, you know, in some, if you try to read the definition of constitutional government, in some book it is only given the limitation of the state. If you go with that understanding, you know, option, you know, B could be the right answer. But again, I believe that, you know, option C is more closer option. Okay. For the discretionary powers, very simple. Appointment of minister is solely prerogative of the advice of the chief minister. Okay. So 2 is out here. So 2 is out here means 1 and 3 are the right answers. So discretionary power of the governor is sending the report to the President of India. That is imposition of President rule. We covered this, and reserving certain bills by the state legislature for the consideration of the President of India. Again, medieval India, the question, it is village headman, okay, Matra and Pattakila, okay. Lichens, again, lichens, you know, lichens is capable of initiating ecological succession over even a bare rock. If you have seen a rock, dry rock, if there is some humidity, you will find that green, you know, small, green kind of thing would be there visible. Okay, that is called lichens, and that lichens are nothing but they are the, you know, the lichens are formed by algae and fungi. It is a fungal this thing. Okay, the bacteria are not there. It's algae and there. Okay, you can see legends. It's given Wikipedia. Now here again, this was a question which ideally students should know. Sandalwood, I had given a list, if you remember. Samiksha, you remember I had given all the list of different plants. Okay, the sandalwood is in Western Ghats, Karnataka. So 3 is out of here. Automatically A and B is the right answer, which are found in Himalayas. Oak is definitely found in Himalayas. Okay. So sandalwood is out option here. So automatically A is there. Little understanding and you'll be able to filter so many options. That is what I've been telling you all. Important pollutants released by Steel Industry of India. Now, oxides of sulfur and SOx, NOx, carbon dioxide, all are released. Okay. This is pretty straight away question. Now, again a static question. Life of Buddha, which were stated? Okay, 3 and 4 are the right answer. Avanti and Gandhara was not. Okay, so option C is the right answer here. This was in news. Every year, a month-long ecologically important campaign festival. Okay, this was in news. And Gond and Korku is the, in fact, you see here, to combat the twin problems of malnutrition and environment degradation, our Adivasis of Harda and Betul district of Madhya Pradesh have decided to launch Operation Gorilla Green. Okay, and if you see the last paragraph, to create awareness, Adivasis has begun a month-long planting campaign to coincide with Hari Jiroti. The Gond and Korku festival celebrated the beginning of rains and new sowing season. So it was mentioned in the newspaper itself. It came in news. Okay. So this is an example. This is a reason why newspapers are important. If you have missed it, okay. Then sale tax you pay while purchasing toothpaste. Now the tax is imposed by central government, but it's collected by state government. Okay, that is the right option here. It comes under Article 268. Okay. Venture capital, we all know. Tell me what is the right answer here, venture capital. Guys, tell me which is the right answer here. Venture capitals, angel investors, venture capitalists. You all must be knowing. Okay, B is the right answer. Right, Pushpin is right. Okay, B is the right answer. It's basically they give fund to the startup people. Okay, and they encourage investment and they believe venture capitalists that eventually the project will be profitable in future. Okay, so they'll get a huge returns. What is the main objective 12th5-year plan? Again, we covered this: faster and sustainable, more inclusive. This is the aim of the 12th 5-year plan. Okay. This is also a very straight question. The difference of balance payment which is the following constitute the current account. If you remember, we covered this, right? Which is the right answer here? Balance of payment. What is balance of payment? B, balance of payment. So, BOP. Which is the right option, guys? It was straight away discussed in my class. C is the right answer. That is balance of payment. What does it mean? It means that it has two components. That is balance of trade and balance of invisibles. Okay, balance of trade means balance of trade here. It means that export minus import. This is about goods, and goods are visible. Now here it is export minus import of services. and services are not visible, not tangible. Okay, so automatically they are invisible. You transfer a fund from US to India. Okay, that will be services and it will be invisible. Okay, so that is balance of invisible. So this balance of payment. Okay, guys. So option C is the right answer here. Pretty straight question. Now this was again marginal standing facility rate and net demand time liabilities also banking operations. Okay. Marginal standing rate facility rate is that even overnight banks draw money. Okay, from RBI. There is 1% higher than repo rate. Interest is net demand and time liabilities. Demand liabilities are like demand. You go and to the bank and you get demand money like current account, savings account are demand. Okay, and time liabilities are like the saving accounts, saving accounts or current account comes on demand. Okay, and time liabilities, fixed time is there, like FD, fixed deposit is there. Okay, so automatically it's in time liabilities. So they are nothing but they are banking operations. Now Bank Sati, okay, Swabhiman Yojana, very famous Yojana. What is news? Its focus was financial inclusion, and in financial inclusion, the Bank Sati would eventually go to the banks wherever the population is more than 2,000. Okay, and they'll help the people to get the benefits of subsidy and social security. Okay, and also make deposits and withdrawals. So C is the right answer here. That is what the aim of Bank Sati was started during Manmohan Singh's government. Okay. Okay, they've covered in properly in this. Okay, 50 question number 53. What is the purpose of statutory reserve requirements? Reserve requirements, SLR, CRR, they all cash reserve ratio, statutory liquid ratio, they are basically statutory reserve requirements. Now here is what are the purpose or purposes? I think we have covered this properly in detail. Now let's see if you go to the options to prevent the banks from making excess profit. This is something that would ideally not be there. That is not the purpose. The purpose is to ensure monetary policy. The purpose is to ensure that liquidity constraints are not there, or they regulate the credit supply in the market. Okay, that is what the aim is. So 3 is out of the question here. Okay, so automatically option we have here is 1 or 2. Okay, so option 4 is also out of the question because sufficient vault cash. What does it mean vault cash? Banks in CRR, banks are supposed to keep the cash with RBI or central bank. So 4 option is automatically eliminated. So 1 or 2. So 1 is already there. If you see now in A and B, 1 is there to make people deposit the bank safe and liquid. That is what the aim of the reserve requirement is. Because let's say tomorrow, because banks operate in the finances that they come. Okay, so a part of money has to kept a kind of, that is what the Basel norms ensures. Okay, so option B is the right answer here. Understood this question, guys? This is a very pretty student must have got confused here. It's little tricky. Okay, because the options are very tempting here. When I read the question, for a moment I was also like, between 1 and 1, 2. But again, when I went to the options, I found that they were pretty straight. Understood, guys? Pushpendra? Samiksha, understood this question? Clear, right? Okay, good. So common sense, a lot of the options could be done through common sense. Arab Spring, which is the answer? This was pretty straight. Now only problem is that the Arab Spring was in use in 2011. Okay. Arab Spring started in Tunisia. Okay. 2011. 2010 December rather. Okay, there's a person called Mohammed Bahouzi, a street vendor in Tunisia. He he burnt himself. He did the suicide, and basically the idea of Arab Spring was that there was a lot of corruption, there was a lot of unemployment, there was a lot of price rise, inflation. People who were not happy. The most of the areas under Arab Spring, they were it was ruled by dictators. Okay, so there was a lot of the lack of democratic reforms. People had little freedom. So naturally, because of that, Arab Spring started from Tunisia. The one event triggered it because already there was a lot of discontent, and eventually started from Tunisia, Egypt, all the countries, all MENA, okay, MENA countries. What is the name of MENA? Okay, MENA, Middle East and North Africa. Okay, MENA. So Arab Spring spread to all these areas. In fact, the repercussion of Arab Spring we are witnessing today also. So this was pretty straight question. Arctic Council. Let's suppose you don't know this answer. What do? You leave it? Can you use your common sense? Arctic Council. So basically there will be the countries closer to Arctic region would have more possibility of being a member of Arctic Council. We don't know. Let's assume that we don't know. Arctic Council is there, but let's say we don't know the members of the Arctic Council. So automatically if we go to the option, UK cannot be the part of Arctic Council. Why? Because UK is below, quite, Arctic is way above, way above, Denmark is okay, seems like it is closer. Even Russia also. So 1 and 3 are there. Okay, 4 is eliminated. So either A or D. Now try to see. A is 1, 2, 3. Japan in USA. Now even if you try to see Japan is not very close to Arctic Circle. The Council, US is more closer. Okay, because there is a lot of portion of US which is closer to Arctic Circle. Okay, so they come part of Arctic Circle. And the entire area of if you see the world map, there's an area which is closer to the US area, which is the Bering Sea, that whole area. Okay, that is closer to Arctic Council. Okay, so option here is what is it? Arctic Council is a high-level governmental forum that addresses issues faced by Arctic government and indigenous people of Arctic. Okay, it has 8 member countries. Yes, they are right, tough to assume. But again, I'm just saying that under the options if you go through, okay, now options if you go through, we have to see what is the aim. Okay, so they basically here is faced by the Arctic government and indigenous people of Arctic. That is why it is named in Arctic Council. But again, I'm just saying that there will be possibility that you might go wrong, but you can filter the options just by having little understanding. Okay. Because the following pairs, Pushpin, the problem is that when you try to think too much, then also the questions become complicated. Okay, take this facts in a much straighter manner. Obviously, there will be exceptions, but there would be times when when you try to think too much, automatically you'll get confused. Okay, so when try to look for more normal or straight reasons, so you'll find that options you'll be able to filter. I'm just telling that, let's say you don't know what are the ways you can filter the options. I'm not saying always that you'll get a correct answer, but chances are there that many a times, 2 out of 3 times you might be correct. Okay. Now here, Chechnya is in Russia, that is true. Darfur is in Sudan and Swat Valley is in Pakistan. So this automatically, this was set always in news, Swat Valley, always in news, Darfur. Okay, Sudan. Agni 4, surface missile, that is true. Okay, and another is it has 4,000 kilometers. 7,500 is not. In fact, Agni 5 range is also not 7,500. Okay, so 3 and 2 are eliminated. So 3 and 3 is eliminated. Sorry. Okay, so we have option 1 only. Okay, and in fact, no, Agni have solid propellants. It doesn't have liquid propellant. Okay, pretty straight questions. Now shale gas, methane gas, again non-conventional, very important. Ideally students should have read them. Okay, again here coal bed methane is a pure methane gas. No, it is not a pure methane gas. It has traces of other gases also, and shale gas also has methane. Okay, so 1 is incorrect. India has abundant coal bed methane, but India has shale gas sources already been identified, so automatically D is the right answer here. Okay. Now this is again art and culture, Changpa community or geography, you can say. They live in basically in their ST. Okay, and they live in Leh Ladakh. So 1 is out of the question, and they Pashmina goat. Okay, so they are in Jammu and Kashmir. Option B is the right answer. Okay. Now this is again cluster bean guar is a vegetable or animal feed, but it is basically used for the extraction of shale gas. It is used. Okay, so that is why it is important. It was in news also. Question number 61. Tell me, guys, what is the answer of this question? Question number 61. This is a pretty question which my students should be able to do. We have done enough. We have discussed enough economy. Okay, Pushpen is saying C. Actually, C is correct. Why? Because interest goes down automatically, the borrowing will be cheaper. So people will take money from the bank. Firstly, secondly, even if you are depositing money in the bank, the chances are there that you will not get high interest. Okay, so again, what will happen? You would not try to park your funds in the bank. Firstly, the loans are cheaper, the borrowing is cheaper, and secondly, even the interest goes down, you would feel that keeping money in the bank is not giving me decent return. It is lesser than what inflation is. Okay, so automatically I'm losing the money. So let's invest somewhere where I'll get decent return. So naturally it increase the investment expenditure in the economy. Okay, understood? Now here again this was something that we have discussed. President shall make rules for the more current transaction of business. Article 77, clause 3. So 1 is correct. All executive actions of the government shall be expressed in the name of Prime Minister, no President. All executive actions are being taken under the name of Prime Minister, President, not Prime Minister. So 1 is the right option here. Okay. Again, this was a question also. No confidence motion, we have discussed this. No mention of no confidence motion in the Constitution of India, that is true. Article 75, clause 2, it says that there is a collective responsibility. The concept of collective responsibility itself means no confidence motion, but it is not specifically mentioned in the Constitution. Okay. Allocation among ministries means what question? Achha, the previous question. Okay, just hold on. You're talking about this. Allocation of not ministries, the business. See what happens. Under Article 77, if you try to see whatever business is being done, okay, it is done by government, but it is done under the name of president. Okay, and government have to inform also the president. Okay, the Prime Minister apprises, the Council Minister apprises them. So what means that it means that the rules for the business of the government, okay, are being done, and the allocation among the ministers, whatever work is being divided among ministers, that is what it means. Understood, Pushpen? Article 77, Clause 3. Now, no contested motion. It is not mentioned anywhere in the Constitution. It is mentioned that Article 75, Clause 3. What does it mean? Article 75, Clause 3 says that ministers, that the whole Council of Ministers will sail and swim together. Means there is a collective responsibility. Okay, which which explicitly or rather implicitly it means that if there's a no confidence, means government will fall. Okay, but it is not particularly mentioned in no confidence motion. In fact, it is mentioned in the rules of the Lok Sabha rules. It is mentioned, okay, but not in the Constitution of India. Constitution of India, only the mention of collective responsibility is given under Article 75. So automatically this option is true. A motion of no confidence can be introduced in Lok Sabha only. Yes, it can be introduced in Lok Sabha only. Okay, it can be introduced in the state legislative assemblies also. But here I think we are taking about central government. So that way option C is right here. Now neem tree here, pesticide we all know. Okay. In fact, there's a lot of application in pharmaceutical industry. 1 and 3 are correct. You can see the there's a link of discover neem. Okay, so neem oil is being produced from the neem tree, okay, from the fruits of the neem, and is tested for biofuels. Okay, but I could not found anything about detergents. So I feel option, many people have given option A, B, 1, 2, 3. But I feel answer C is more correct. Okay. Now biofuel potential, it is not being manufactured, but the potential of biofuel production is there. But there are there are others which have higher potential. But that is why option B, C I found more closer. Now this is also very pretty straight question. We all know the energy is being taken in process of photosynthesis and stored in potential form. Okay. So what happens? If we go, let's try to see this question. Food is oxidized. In photosynthesis, oxygen is released. So C is incorrect. Oxygen is taken, D again. This is also incorrect because oxygen is released. So we have in between A and B. Okay. And if you go to the the energy diagram of photosynthesis, you will find that the energy, it takes energy and it stores the energy. Okay. Biometrics have all. Iris, retinal is already there. Okay. In fact, this two, if you have, let's say you don't know voice recognition, you can go to the options. Iris and retinal are there. Retina scan and iris scan are very famous. So automatically 1 and 2 are there, so 3 would also be there. Okay. So D is the right answer. Any question, guys? I'll take some questions, not all. Okay, quickly, I'll have to take some questions also. Okay, here Cassini-Huygens was for Saturn. Okay, so 1 is incorrect. Okay, and so automatically B is the right answer here. The messenger is for Mercury and Voyager 1 or 2 for space missions. Now soybean here, we all know soybean is famous in which area? Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so 3 is incorrect. Nut is found in which area? Western Ghats or in mountain ranges. Okay, so option 1 is also incorrect. D is the right answer here. What are the examples of chemical change? Only souring of milk is an example of chemical change. And if you try to see, when the milk sours, what happens? It becomes into lactic acid. Okay, so souring of milk is a chemical change, as sugar becomes lactic acid, while other two are physical changes. Okay, so 3B is the right answer here. Okay, guys. I'm just telling you that if you try to see this paper and if you try to have a little mental composure, you should be able to filter lot many options. Power of Supreme Court, original jurisdiction, center. Dispute between center and state or between states, okay, is original and exclusive jurisdiction of Supreme Court of India. This is also we have discussed. Now question number 72, I was not able to find a data understanding. I'll check this and we'll discuss sometime later. Now this also 73 is a very straight questions. Maize is formed, use of production of starch, that's true. Alcohol beverage is also true, okay. And oil is it is used for biodiesel also, that is also true. Okay, so automatically option D is the right answer here. You can see here 73 I have given an article. You can easily go and study how we use maize or corn. Okay. To increase the number of the Supreme Court, the power is vested with the. It is done by the President of India, but the Parliament has the power. Okay. So B is the right answer here in 75. Now consider the following towns in India. The following towns of India, which of the are famous for production of traditional saris? Kanchipuram silk saris are very famous, everybody knows this. And in fact, Chanderi, Kanchipuram saris is a geographical indication. In fact, Kanchipuram is in Tamil Nadu. And even Chanderi, sari is also very famous. It is in Madhya Pradesh. Okay. So 2 and 3 are correct option. But Bhadrachalam is nothing, it's a temple. Okay. So option B is the right answer. Okay, so I mean I know that sometimes we don't know these things. Again, this was NH question. I don't know why they asked this question, but again you can leave this question. I doubt that people have understanding of all three highways. Okay, I've put the details in the answers. You can read them. Where is NH4, NH6 and NH15? Here answer is D actually. Okay. Okay, here if you try to see bearing on biodiversity, here also logically you can filter. World Heritage Convention, they basically the conservation of the heritage buildings or heritage structures. So biodiversity relation is not clear here. Okay, it is dicey, not clear. So you can eliminate 3. So automatically A, 1 and 2 are closer option here. That way you can go. Okay. Earth Hour, we all know, we have already practiced. It happens under the which month? Last Saturday of March. Okay. And it is initiative of World Wildlife Fund for Nature, WWF. So one is eliminated. Okay. Now it is a movement in participants switch off the lights from 8:30 to 9:30, 1 hour. That is true. It is a movement to raise awareness about climate change. That is also true. Okay. There is a lot of lot of discussion goes that okay, we'll discuss. We'll follow Earth Hour and we switch off our lights and air conditioners and everything, right? Okay, Sustainable Sugarcane Initiative. Now again, you can see here it is given properly. In this, here also if you try to see, the option number 3 is no application of chemical. In fact, the application of chemical fertilizers in the sugarcane initiative, it is something that which is regularized, or rather there is optimum utilization is there. So 3 is incorrect here. So automatically B is the right answer here. That is drip irrigation is followed, seed cost is low, and intercropping is also increased here. So automatically B is the right answer here. Understood, guys? Now again, factual question, what is Monterey's record? Chances are there that you would not know, but here option A is the right answer. Okay, change in the ecological character that have occurred or occurring or likely to occur in the wetland as a result of human interference. Now this is a sitter. I would assume that everybody will do this. Andaman Nicobar. Okay, geography. Simple. Andaman Nicobar is separated by 10-degree channel. Okay. Now desert prone area program, desert development program. Now if you students are covering India Airbook, they'll find this. Now rest of the chances are there that do not do it. You would not do them. Desert Prone Area Program and Desert Development program, they come under Ministry of Rural Development. So 1 and 2 are incorrect. Okay. And National Watershed Development Project of Rainfed Area comes in Ministry of Agriculture. So it's a straight factual question. I know you can leave them, you can leave it. I know the chance of knowing this question is very less unless you have made a list of all the ministries and all the related departments are there. Okay. Bombay Natural History Society, very famous one, and it is not a autonomous organization. Okay, so 1 is out of the question here. The B and C are here left. It strives to conserve nature through action-based reserve education, public awareness. Okay, it organizes and conducts natural trails and camps. That is also true. Okay. Global Environment Facility (GEF), it acts as a financial mechanism. That is true. Okay, so A is the right answer here. Again, these are factual questions. Chances of there's a lot of donkey work we have to do in these kind of things, such questions. Some extra hard work, we have to make a list, because there has been, we see that some questions are being asked, the trend is like that. Okay. The photovoltaic is direct conversion of light to electricity, that is true, but it produces DC, not AC. Okay, so 2 is eliminated, 1 and D, A and D. So A1 is correct. Okay, so A is the right answer here. The 2 is incorrect automatically. A is the only thing is 1. A is the option only left, and A is correct. Sorry, 1 is correct. So 3 we don't need to know here. Gujarati, Kannada, Telugu. Again, classical language. We have discussed this if you remember. Classical languages. Gujarati is not a classical language, that's for sure. So A1 is out of the question. What is the meaning of classical language? Any language which is old, which has owned, which is rich. Okay, in India, the first classical language was for Sanskrit. No, sorry, Tamil. Then Sanskrit. In 2004, Tamil was there. Then Sanskrit. Then Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam. All have been declared. Okay, so automatically 2 and 3 are the right answer here. Okay. It was a news, so that is why. Tiger Reserve, again, chance of knowing this question was less. Actually, they were in news. Question number 89, they were in news. Okay. That is why this question has been asked. Okay. So Saramati is in Nagaland. Okay. That is true, the peak. And Gumti is in Tripura. So 2 is incorrect here. Okay. So option 1 and 3 are correct. Dampa Tiger Reserve is also in Mizoram. Okay. So this becomes a little dicey, because you have to mug up log. You have to. Idea is that you make a list of and you go through again and again. Okay, and get updated the list, because many times new areas are being added every year. Okay. Wetland International, it is a NGO. So 1 is incorrect, but it does work in the field of development mobilized knowledge. Okay. So here 2 is correct. Now BRICS, first summit was in Russia. Ideally, if you go to examination, you have to go to these organizations, just see them, that is important. Okay, so when did it start, which year, the little bit history, then present sessions, what is the aim, what is the goal. Okay, South Africa is the last to join because earlier it was BRIC nation and then S. Okay, so 2 is the correct option, that is B is correct option here. Now here, which of them has been eradicated? Smallpox is eradicated, we all know. Diphtheria and chickenpox. Chickenpox is not eradicated, and diphtheria's cases are found. It was in news. Okay, in Hyderabad, some case of diphtheria was found in one of the newspapers I had already read. Okay, so B is the only correct option here. That is smallpox. Okay, guys. Evolution of organism, continental drift and glacial cycles. Again, actually, both of them has led to the evolution of organisms. It's a geography question. Okay, and if you go to the Gochi-Leong, okay, Gochi-Leong, some chapters they have been discussed. There you will find that you'll get an understanding. Poaching of Ganges River dolphins. It's a national aquatic animal. Okay, the reason is again very obvious. The population is going down. Why? Because there's a dams and barrage construction is there. Automatically, the natural flow of river is disrupted. There's increase in production of crocodiles in river. Actually, it's opposite. The crocodile production has come. Population has come down for the same reason. Okay, and they do not. It doesn't support the argument. So even if you go with the option 2, that the population of crocodile has gone down, you can see automatically only C option is left. So you don't need to do more hard work. Okay, because the crocodile, the ghadials, they have also become very, the numbers are going, they are also endangered species. Okay, so the decline of river Ganges dolphin doesn't relate to it. Okay, so it should be opposite. Radcliffe, again, Cyril Radcliffe in 1947, India Independence Act. After that, the delimitation of boundary between India and Pakistan. Okay, he's a British lawyer. Again, this environment ecology question. Brominated flame retardants. They are used in household product materials and upholstery. Okay, they're very highly resistant to degradation. That is also true, and they have huge environmental costs, environmental health hazards, and they bioaccumulate also. They can get inside your body. Okay, so option C is the right answer. Okay, now bat, bears, rodents. Bears are there. Okay, so A, B, C, D is not there. Bats also are, they go for hibernation. They decrease their body activity. Temperatures decrease. Okay, they decrease the temperature. The weight goes down. Okay, so hibernation takes place. A, B, 3. All. If you remember, similar question came last year also. Again, we have discussed this question. Largest committee of the Parliament. Public Accounts Committee has 22 members, 15 from Lok Sabha and 7 from Rajya Sabha. Committee of Estimates has 30 members, all from Lok Sabha. Committee of Public Undertakings has again 22 members, 15 from Lok Sabha, 7 from Rajya Sabha, and Committee of Petitions has 50 members in Lok Sabha and 10 members in Rajya Sabha. Okay, so the Committee of Petitions, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha is different. So automatically here, Committee of Estimates has maximum number. It's a factual question again. Okay. So, but you read parliamentary committees, so automatically it is covered there. So we had covered this question also. Which of the adds carbon? Again, this was covered. Respiration, photosynthesis is the only thing which doesn't add carbon dioxide to carbon cycle here. Okay, the oxygen is released. So automatically C is the right answer here. Okay. Now this is a very interesting question. I laughed when I saw this question. Okay. If you go walk to the countryside, you're likely to see some birds talking alongside cattle to seize the insect. Mayana is all, most of the time if you try to see in countryside rural area, you'll find that, if the cattle is going, the birds would move around the cattle, because moment that the cattle, they eat the grass, the insect that they come out, they feed on those insects. So common manna is there. Okay, so ABC. Now painted stock and black necked crane, they are basically painted stock is they feed on small fish mainly. Okay, and black necked crane is in agriculture valleys where they feed on base grains. Okay, so option B is right answer here. Again, it's a question which student would not attempt. Okay, but if you go to the crane, crane usually, and even painted stock is also a form of a crane. Okay, so they don't feed on insects. Okay, they feed on bigger birds like this. Sorry, bigger fishes these days. Okay, so that is it, guys. So now what if you try to understand analyze this question? The paper had paper was not easy. I would not say the paper was easy, but there were a lot of gaps and scope of scoring. The GS paper 2014 had two kind of questions. 50% of the questions were they were sitters, not 50, rather 40 questions, and there were around 20 to 25 questions which were there, which student can do with little understanding or reasoning. Again, there were 20-25 questions where they were out of the scope. If you remember, I discussed that there were 20 questions. You in any case you will not be able to do it. Okay, so you cannot ever attempt more than 80 questions. Ideally, a good score in this paper would be around 50. Very good score. So the questions which were easy, the sitters, they were so easy that you should not make a blunder of making a mistake in these questions. Okay, so here you can see the trend. The questions, environment ecology, even in environment ecology, there are many questions. If you had done environment ecology, you would be able to attempt 10 questions very easily. Okay, so automatically this area, with little planning, if you put 3 to 4 months of effort, planned effort, okay, don't go for haphazard study and out of the top or unnecessary study. Automatically you can easily score 50 marks in this. Planned study for 3-4 months, 50%. Again, I mean, it's a final day. There are many thoughts that goes on. Usually students make mistakes. There are a lot of because real time situation things are a little complex or complicated than discussing question outside the paper. But that is what the competition is. We have to maintain our composure. We have to see. It is not a question. UPSC has many aspects. It is. If you try to understand, UPSC has. They not only test your intelligence. They test your intelligence. That is very much true. But they also test, your common sense. Okay, the common sense will prevail only when you have mental composure. So these three areas, knowledge and you test your intelligence. Content knowledge is important. But let's say you have limited here, but if you are good here, you maintain the mental composure, automatically your scores would rise by 10%, believe me. Because they not only test your intelligence, your understanding, your analysis, but they also want to see that how are you able to filter those options, how you perform there. So you need here, the patience and perseverance matters. Okay, so go for a planned, effective approach. Believe in yourself. Things would eventually fall in place. Okay. Any questions, guys? The solutions. These are the questions which are already on the website. I'll post the solutions tomorrow on the website. Okay. So you can easily go and see the answers. I have provided the links also where you can, because usually these questions would be from the book, but again, I cannot tell you book and page number because that is practically not possible. But you can usually find all the answers from different areas. Wikipedia is a huge source. Okay, so that is all, guys. Thank you very much for your time. Ask me if you have any questions. You can easily ask me. Any question, guys? Samiksha, did you attend the paper?